the night, with faith as my guiding light. I am because I am says I am. In his presence I take my stand. Thou prepares a table before me, even in the presence of my enemy.
Hey, make sure the dog is out the way.
With oil, my head held high. I am who I am, no need to justify. Goodness and mercy follow my way. For I am who God says I am each day. I am because I am says I am. In this house I find my eternal.
Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome to Disability Unplugged. Now, you know you're at generational turnaround, but this segment is called Disability Unplugged. And I can't wait to bring my guests up here, but we seek the truth, and then we bring you the proof from the guests that we invite, because they are professionals. So I'm going to bring first my co-host, Suelo. All right, let's see. Okay, Suelo.
Hello, welcome. You know what? I'm so blessed to be back here, and thank you for having me again, Miss Judy.
Oh yeah, aren't we excited with our guest today, Leroy McClure Jr. And so we're gonna bring him up right now.
Hello, Miss Judy. How
Hello.
you doing?
Oh, I am blessed and highly favored. What about you?
I am blessed and highly favored also. I just
Oh,
thank God that I am here on top of earth instead of earth on top of me.
all right. I had not heard that, but that's right on. That's right on, Leroy. We are all blessed in that way. And I'm not gonna waste any time because I want to read a little bit about your bio so people will know
Okay.
who I have here. All right. We have thrilled to welcome Leroy McClure Jr., author of the uplifting memoirs Life is Good Post Stroke. I am now better, not bitter. I love that. That's what I named this show. I am now better, not bitter. And I invite you all to please make sure don't leave. Y'all got to stay here and listen to this. Leroy's journey after suffering a stroke is a testament to the strength of the human spirit. He chose to embrace life with a positive attitude, transforming his challenges into opportunities for growth. In this segment, we're going to dive deep into his experiences, discussing topics that matter to all of us, especially in the disability community. So this is how we're just gonna go into it, because I really want you to tell them who you are more than me reading a script. I want you to tell them who is Leroy McClure Jr.
Judy, I would love to. Of course, my name is Leroy McClure Jr. I'm the founder and CEO of Focus Learning Academy, AAA Academy, which consists of several public charter schools. I started with 50 students. In over 20 years, I built it up to 1,700 students. I got to the point where we had some governmental interference, and we decided it was time for us to let go and let God show us the next direction for us to go. Now, while we were waiting, I wrote a couple of books, and one book I wrote when I closed my school was Why Sammy Still Can't Read. And during that time, right around 21, I had a stroke. I was in the best shape I've ever been in before. I was in the gym, had a small headache, and I recognized something was not right. So I asked a young man to walk with me to the water fountain. And as I was drinking water, I started slurring. Then I asked the young man to dial 911. And at that moment, the paramedics came to get me. And they took me to the hospital. Then they care flighted me over to another hospital where I was in neuro ICU for 21 days. Now, I could go on and on. Did you want me to continue, or you have some more questions for me?
You're muted, Miss Judy.
I'm sorry. I want you to continue.
Okay. Well, I was in neuro ICU for 21 days, and I was having excruciating headaches. And the reason being is because a blood vessel had burst in my brain. So I was bleeding in the brain. I had what we call an AVM, arterial venous malformation, the bleeding of the brain, and it was a birth defect. I never knew about it, would not have known about it until I had that stroke in the gym. I went approximately 3 months in a wheelchair, unable to walk. And finally, I quit being mad at God. I said, God, it could have been worse. It could have been a whole lot worse. 800,000 people a year have a stroke. 20%, which is 160,000 of them, don't survive.
No.
I'm a stroke survivor.
Yes.
God's not done with me yet.
Yes. And that is, we all three can say that right now, that God, because we've got Suelo with cancer.
Yes, okay.
And what else was it, Suelo?
Stage 4 endometriosis. But I'm just looking at his smile right now.
Yes.
I'm just listening to your story, and I'm grateful to have met you. So thank you. And this is my first time meeting you. So I'm just looking at your smile, and I'm like, that's priceless. So
Yes.
smiling.
Yes.
But
It is.
it's been like this even before I had my stroke. Once I had my stroke, I knew God wasn't finished with me. When I look at Philippians 1:12, it simply says, what has happened to me has actually served to advance the gospel.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
sir.
that's it. That says it all right there.
Mhm.
And we are advancing the gospel. And what did you do after the stroke? What have you accomplished?
Well, I have accomplished quite a few things, Miss Judy. First of all, when I was in rehab, after 2.5 months, I learned how to walk. I learned how to take a few steps. Now, the stroke impaired me physically. Cognitively, I'm still on point. But physically, I couldn't walk. And my left side, I'm still building up my left side. In the beginning, I could not move anything and I could not touch anything. I couldn't even put my clothes on. But now I can put my shirt on, take it off, take my own showers and everything. And I'm walking. And since I learned how to walk, I now have taken, get this, 10 million steps.
Oh,
10 million steps. And I'm working on another book right now called 10 Million Steps Closer to Jesus.
oh my goodness. And I do hope that I'm involved in that one.
Okay.
The name of my company is Activate Your Faith Publishing.
We need to talk some more about that because
I'm throwing that out there.
yes,
I'm
yes,
throwing that out to anybody that's watching because the disabled, I don't like that term because so I put a hyphen in between dis and able because a hyphen divides anything that's in between.
yes, yes,
So we are not disabled. We are well able to do exceedingly abundantly
yes.
above all that anybody.
Amen. Yes.
That's right.
And yes,
So,
yes,
so,
yes,
so tell us. So tell us. Okay, you had the school.
yes.
Okay, and that was a home school.
Well, it was a public charter school, and we
Oh,
were working with children with dyslexia and ADHD, bright children, but they weren't doing well in the public school district environment. So we had our own niche where we had teachers trained to be able to teach these kids how to read. Quite a few of our children aren't doing well academically because they can't read. It's
mhm,
not because they're not smart. It's because the teachers aren't trained well enough to teach the children that learn differently how to read. Think about it. When you look at Matthew 7:7, ask and it shall be given to you,
yeah.
seek and you shall find, knock and the door shall be open.
Mhm,
Ask is an auditory way of learning. Seek is a visual way of learning. Knock is a hands-on way of learning. We have different learning styles. Unfortunately, the teacher aren't trained to teach all students according to their learning styles.
that is so true. And that's where all of a sudden they start putting them in special education
Yes,
and
yes,
saying that
yes,
they're slow and they can't follow the instructions. And
yes,
before you know it, we had so many children, especially Black children, that not getting a diploma, they were getting a certificate,
yes,
was not noticed, uh, what do you call it? Not being, when you go try to go to college, they
yes.
don't recognize.
They didn't have enough credits and
Yes,
they couldn't and they didn't do well on their
yes,
ACT and SAT exams.
yes.
You're right.
And it was just all part of the system.
The system, when you look at it, Miss Judy, 2 out of 3 African American men in prison can't read. 2 out of 3. It doesn't mean they're not smart. It means that they have difficulty with reading. When you look
Right.
at the public school system, the first 3 years, you should learn how to read. After that, you read to learn. So when you have children in first and second and third grade, if they can't read, they will never learn how to read. And so therefore, they're being moved to another system. That's the alternative system. And
Right.
they start focusing on behavior. If you're in a class every day and they're not helping you, you will get a little disappointed and upset and start acting out too. Then they
Hmm.
start focusing on the behavior and not focus on the fact that the child can't read.
Hmm.
And we saw that too many times. And that's why I started our schools. And we started focusing on making sure they learn how to read by third grade.
Okay.
by third grade, you can learn how to read. Most children learn how to read by themselves. They don't have any challenges. But about 20% of our kids, 20% across the board, have some type of dyslexia. Dyslexia means having problems with words, whether
Right.
you're reading it, writing it, speaking it, or even comprehending, having problems with words. And we have difficulty reading proper English. We speak one language, which is not proper English. Then we get into public school. Now we're trying to read something that doesn't make sense because we don't talk like that.
Right. Right.
So we have several issues there. And for over 30 years, I've been trying to address it. But most recently, when I wrote the book, Why Sammy Still Can't Read, I made my best stab at trying to address this real issue that we have in the public school system. Because African Americans are just as smart. They just need somebody that care for them and teach them according to their learning style.
You are so right. Suela, what you think about that?
Well, he's talking about the generational turnaround. So that's
I hear you.
That's a generational turnaround. And then at the same time, I teach self-care awareness, and self-care awareness is understanding that it's okay sometimes to say no, but you also have to understand who you are and whose you are. Because a lot of us, like you said, I like how you were talking about, we what you say, by the third grade, with the kids in reading. Well, that's just like understanding whose you are. With sometimes, and I'm speaking from my own self-experience, I know who I am, but then that environment, it's like, okay, well, this is what the environment is saying. And it's the same thing with, reading and everything else. It's the environment. If your environment is teaching you, then you won't know. You won't understand that you are supposed to be in a better place. You won't understand that God called each and every one of us for specific needs, for a purpose. So I'm loving it. So like I said, go ahead.
It's just like, majority. Now let me make sure I say this. Majority of the teachers are doing an outstanding job. Now let's face it. When we get sick, we go to the doctor, right? Now, if we have cancer or we have a stroke dealing with the brain, we have to get some specialists to work with us. The doctor can't handle that. That's what's going on in the public school system. The teacher can work with most of the kids, but if they have a challenge with reference to reading, they need to get a certified academic language therapist that's trained specifically on teaching kids, make sure they know the letters of the alphabet, making sure they understand that every letter is a symbol and every symbol has a sound. Then we blend. When we're blending, we're reading. When we're unblending, we're spelling. Teach them to write in cursive, not print. They're specialized in doing just that. Nothing else other than that. Now, I've been doing it since 89. I have a daughter that's 26. She just got certified. I'm the first African-American male certified academic language therapist in the country. When I got certified in 93. There were only about 300 certified people. And there was about 2 or 3 blacks, and I was the only African-American male. Everybody else were white women. Now there's about 3,500 certified academic language therapists. About 3,400 of them are white women. There might be 10 to 20 black women. Then there's a few Hispanics. There might be 2 or 3 males. And then, of course, there's me. Now, Majority of those that have a difficulty with reading are African American men, boys, people that look like us. We need to stop, drop, and pray and help them. If we don't, we're going to lose another generation. And they don't really care as much as we do because, see, they already understand they're going to go into another system. And that's the system they control. They build the prisons. They give the contracts to their own people. And most of those that are in the prison looks like us. I used to didn't believe this, but I see it.
And there's a lot of people who don't believe it, still don't believe it. And so therefore, and they look like us, and therefore they don't step out and speak on it because it has not affected their child.
Yes, and you're right. And Miss Judy, I would not be talking about this if I had not had a brother. The book says why Sammy still can't read. Sammy happens to be my brother. His name is Sam. He was a year behind me. He went all the way through high school and he couldn't read. He was extremely bright, could do anything with his hands, but because I was his brother, I was a straight A student. The teacher just passed him. And when he graduated from high school, he couldn't even read his diploma. Mm. And so after we got out of high school, I went to college and got a couple of degrees. And he came to me and said, you need to help our people. There's a lot of people in the school system just like I am. They need some help. I went back to school and got a master's degree and started focusing on how can I help these people? How can I help our people? And there was a small group of people. I live here in the Dallas, Texas area. We have a hospital called Scottish Rite Hospital, and they focus on training teachers to become what they call dyslexic specialists or certified academic language therapists. It was a bunch of white women. I got right on in there with them. And they loved me because, I listen and I'm always smiling. I'm always smiling. And they trained me. And I said, I'm going to help my people. You guys, y'all can help y'all people because, see, dyslexia is hereditary. Mm-hmm. It's in my family.
Mine too.
I have 5. It's 5 of us. And out of 5, my brother that's under me, Sammy, and my sister that's above me, Elaine, both of them have strong characteristics of dyslexia. I mean, bright, very bright, but in the public school system, it gave them a very difficult time. It was tough for them. They hated school.
You know what? I'm gonna stop you for a minute. My daughter would write total sentences backwards.
Yes, that's another characteristic.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
And then one teacher from Boston, only one that knew about dyslexia, and she would have me write on her back, work on her back, and she could write it then because, but it was serious.
Yes.
And it followed her all the way through school, and nobody really knew about it. And then they tried to give her a certificate to graduate.
Yes.
And that's what they were doing. But even when I was kids, a child, they had special rooms that they would put the slow kids in.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. The key about special ed is if you understand the law, you can get a private education in special ed, but you have to have an advocate there with you, making sure they show you exactly what to do when you're putting together what they call your IEP, individualized educational plan. White affluent people used to hire me out and pay me $200 an hour to go with them into an art meeting, annual review and dismissal meeting, which is how they get you into special ed. And they want their child in special ed because now we make the request of what we want. We want a computer. We want to make certain that they have a therapist with them. We write all of this up in the IEP. They get a private education in the public school system. But see, we don't know that. We don't know that. We just look at special ed is bad for you. For the most part, the way they have it set up, it is. But if you got I talk about that in my book. If you got an advocate, a language therapist that's there in the meeting with you, you can always invite a third party. Let them speak for you. You can get some help. And I think that's anything in life. We need to be educated on how we can help ourselves.
Yes.
And that's what we try to do. My wife and I, we, even after we've closed our schools, we still work in the neighborhood, at the churches, letting parents know you can't assume they're going to do the right thing for your child.
That's right.
You can't assume that. You can't assume it.
You know what? Now you've had a stroke.
Yes, ma'am.
And you say your cognitive has not been effective.
Yes, ma'am.
And that is so obvious because the man who did all that with the school and the advocacy, and that's who's talking right now. And when I say disability unplugged, that's what I wanted you to unplug, come here and give information out to the masses, because it's the masses that's watching you right now. We have over 300 countries that are watching us right now and need to know everything you just say. I didn't want to interrupt you, but I just had to say, everyone, please, take this information, put it in your arsenal, where you put information from the word, because this is the word right here.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
ma'am.
And
we are going to be every Sunday. Me and Suelo, we be here, and even if we by ourselves, we are going to be here. And a lot of times we are. Isn't that true, Suelo?
Yes, ma'am. But we're here, though. We're here.
We need that we need information like Leroy, what you just said is priceless.
Well,
there is families that's listening to you who have children that are dyslexic, and I'm going to shut up and let you finish.
Well, you're doing a good job. It's one of those things where, the word makes it very clear. All things, and we know Christians, and we know all things work together for the good, for those who love the Lord and call according to his purpose. In the beginning, my purpose was very clear. I was living a purpose-driven life. Because of my brother, I wanted to help other people like my brother, because I knew the type of life he experienced, and it was tough. Me being an A student, and it looked like he was a D or F student, but he had an issue, a challenge that no one knew about. And now, since I've had the stroke, now I want to be an advocate for stroke survivors.
Yes.
And right now, I still have a fire to do whatever I can to help stroke survivors. I knew what it took for me to survive, and it wasn't easy. But God was there every step other way. You know, I've tell people it was a temporary setback for a major comeback.
That's right.
And I'm
That's it.
excited. But then again, I don't lose sight of the vision.
Right.
That education, that's in me. It's in me. And it ain't
Mm-hmm.
going nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
And when it needs to come up, it comes up. As you see, I get excited about it too. I
Yes.
mean, being the
Yes.
CEO, starting a school and building it up. I mean, starting with 10 teachers, and the last year we had 150 teachers. You know, starting with a budget of 400,000. When we finished, we had a $15 million budget.
See.
You know, it was one of those things where there was a need. And you know,
Mhm.
sometimes when we get to doing something positive, it makes some people do some things that's not good. Because
Yes.
we're doing it. Because we're doing it. All of a sudden, they don't like it. They have
Mm-hmm.
issues with it. So they have ways of interfering.
Well, and we know where that's coming from.
we know
Okay.
we know how
We
faith
know.
works.
Yes. Yes.
We know
It's
how
but
faith works.
there's a lot of people who don't know, and so they believe that they're doing this, and some it's for jealousy. There is some for jealousy, but they're being used to to deliberately try and stop, like you,
Yes, yes,
schools, especially for with the kids, because
yes,
they want the kids.
yes, they do. Yes, they
Yeah,
do.
yeah.
They want the kids. And you know, my wife and I, today I spoke at a church and I talked about my relationship with the pastor. I've been knowing him for over 40 years. And he talked about coming to our school, and every now and then we invite him to lead a prayer or different things. But he remembered the students. Now this minister happens to be white. Our school was 98% black. He
Mm.
remembered how obedient they were, how well mannered they carried themselves. See, if you teach our children the right way,
Mhm.
they will do well. Unfortunately, too many of us trying to raise them up with the remote control, and
Mhm.
we don't have any relationship with them. We have to build relationship with them. It takes time, but once we build relationship with them, then they'll turn around and do the same to their children. That's
Mhm.
where it starts. It starts right at home. Even if a child have dyslexia, it is not a disability. It just means you have to do things a little different, just a little.
Well, train a child in the way
Yes,
that they should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from
yes,
it.
yes,
And so, like you say, got to start them when they're young,
yes.
because
Oh,
it's
yes,
already be said that by the time a black child gets 6 years old, they are already preparing prisons for them.
yes. And especially when they get into the fifth grade, they look at how many are failing. They can
Ye-
determine how many penal systems to build.
Yes, yes, that's it. So we are here on Disability Unplugged because we all have been, if it wasn't for God,
Yes,
why we're
yes,
here with you right now. And it's to tell you all that no weapons that's formed against you shall prosper if you believe in God first. And then you got to believe in yourself, in your children. Don't
yes,
listen to everything somebody said that has no uh, really idea what could be wrong with your child. you have to go and you have to go to professionals
Yes,
to
yes.
diagnose what's wrong. And we got a lot of angry kids. And look, Suelo always tell me, and I had a problem getting it about the parents and the kids in what they see and what they're going through and how they're trying to uh, go ahead, you tell it, Suelo. I'm sorry, I don't want to mess it up.
Yes, well, I want to say thank you, Leroy, for everything that you're doing, because you and I, we kind of, yeah, we work together a little bit. Because the one thing I do tell the parents, it's not solely up to the teachers. It has to start at home.
Yes.
I hear a lot of parents say, well, the teachers don't do this, the teachers don't do that. I'm like, but the teachers is one teacher for how many students, and you are this child's parent, so teach them. But what Miss Judy is talking about is I'm always going against parents. I don't have my own children, but I'm a village mother. That's what I am. So a lot of parents, they always tell me, well, Swalo, you think you know this, and Swalo, you think. I'm like, are you listening to your child? Pay attention to your child. Do you see what's happening to your child? Because it's about the control. The
Yes,
control. You
yes.
know how, and I'm a 70s baby, and I always heard, do as I say, not as I do. I brought you in this world, I take you out. Well, in 2025, some
Yes.
people are still trying to live by that, and it's really backfiring in their face. And I'm like, you can't do that. If they're watching you, they're going to pick up what you're doing. And then you
Right.
tell them,
Yes.
oh, well,
Yes.
stop lying. Well, they hear you when
Yes.
they say,
Yes.
I'm gonna call you, I'm gonna call you back. And then I ain't gonna call them back. I got other stuff to do. But now that child and picked everything up that you just said, and you want them to not lie. Okay, so then I'm the one that says, well, if you don't want them to, not lie, if you want them to be honest, you have to be honest. So then it's like, oh, well, now you think you know everything, you think you're better. Well, no, we all were children at one point. And why
Yes.
don't you
Yes.
remember the things that you did because you saw it? You didn't do the things that they told you not to do. But as soon as their back was turned, you did the things they said not to do because you saw them do it.
Yes.
So that's my whole thing as parents. Why do we forget that we were children at one point?
That's
Let's just
that's
remember the things that we used to do and stop trying to act like these kids are not human. We try to make it like kids nowadays, just because like how, and the parents, they give them the devices,
Yes.
the cell phones, the tablets, and then they want to say, well, I don't know why these kids are going out here doing all these mass shootings. Well, what attention are you showing them? Have
Hmm.
you told them that you love them 5, 6, 7 times a day? Wait, a day. I'm not talking about in a week. I'm talking about in one day. Because you cannot tell a child one time a day, oh, I love you, and then just, oh, well, here's your device and go on about your business. You have to teach them something. It's about nurture. It's about compassion. It's about love. It's about
Yes.
spending time.
Yes.
That's what it's about. And if we don't get that back, then, and I'm going to say this sometimes, because my disability, it came from my upbringing. Take care of your family. Do this for your family. Do that for your family. And I'm doing everything for my family, but I forgot about to take care of myself. And so I'm not
mhm.
taking care of myself. So now my health is going down because I'm trying to make sure everybody else is okay. And then when I'm going through cancer, stage 4 endometriosis, wait, whoa, let me back up. When I first started going through depression,
Okay.
let's go to that one first. I went through depression as a
Yes.
teenager. That was the teenage years.
Okay.
Nobody listened. Nobody listened. Even I'm a victim of police brutality, 1989. Nobody even listened to that stuff. Nobody listens. Look, we have a voice for a reason. Even as a child, every child needs to be heard. I'm so sick and tired of hearing, I'm the mama, I'm the daddy, you listen. kids have a voice for a reason. And sometimes those kids are better, more connected to Jesus Christ than we are. And we just got to, be honest with that too. Because we out here living in this sinful world, and we are of the world, but these kids are innocent. Their relationship with the Father is better than ours. So when they say, Mama, you might want to go this way and not that way, and then we say, I know what we got to stop that.
No.
Yeah.
We have to.
Well, you know what? You're right, Suelo. We're gonna let Leroy have the last words. I want you to tell everyone how they can get in touch with you. I want you to tell everyone whatever you want to leave them with.
Well, I like to focus on 3 A's: attitude, academics, and athletics. Our attitude is where it starts. When you think about life, it's 10% what happens to you, 90% of how you respond. We must have the right attitude. We must see the glass as being half full instead of half empty. The Bible says that life and death is in the power of the tongue. Your attitude must be positive, and you must keep people away from you that is negative. When I was recovering, I'm still on the road of recovery, by the way. But when I started initially, I wanted to make sure I had positive people around me. If I had negative people around me, I kicked them to the curb. If negative thing came out of their mouth, I checked them. We must make certain that we keep a positive attitude. And another thing is, it is okay. It is okay if you have some issues academically. You just don't have to stay there. There is some help. When it comes to dyslexia, just like cancer, just like stroke, there are different types of symptoms or characteristics. Dyslexia, there's over 200 characteristics of dyslexia. Not everybody do things backwards, but most of them do. Not everybody have a difficulty with reading. 85% of them do. Not everybody cannot write cursive. They don't even teach cursive handwriting. We need to meet them where they are and tell them how proud we are. Build a positive environment that's conducive to learning, and then teach them. In athletics, I believe everybody should do something when it comes to exercise. I remember when I took my first step, Miss Judy. It was the hardest thing I've done in my life. I'm 64 years old now, but when I had my stroke, I was 61. Now, all I need to do is take one foot and put it in front of the other and walk. Take one step. I couldn't do that. Mentally, I had some issues. I had to deal with counselor. When you talk about mental, that mental illness is real. It is real. That needs to be addressed. It was obvious physically I needed some help, but mentally, that needed to be dealt with. And once I got that dealt with, I was able to put one foot in front of the other one and recognize I was not going to fall. And now I've taken 10 million steps, and I love walking. When I walk, I'm talking to the Lord. I'm thanking Him. I'm praising Him. I'm memorizing scripture. I'm prepared to preach wherever somebody would have me. Walking, taking 10 million steps is a lot of exercise. That's equivalent to 3,750 miles.
How many steps do you take a day?
15,000.
Where do you go?
I don't go anywhere. I live on 5 acres, so I
Oh,
walk the perimeter of my property.
oh,
That's 1,000 steps, and then I get bored after doing 3 or 4. I walk the other way, and then I get bored with that. Then I got about 4 or 5 routes that I take. And the other day, it was cold. It was so cold. I could have used that as an excuse to not walk. I walked 7.2 miles in my house. It was 14, almost 15,000 steps in my house.
how do your wife keep up with you? I mean, she don't walk, so she just sit there and just watch you.
Well, she's usually busy on the computer working on things,
Oh,
and I pass by her and I'll say, "I love you, baby," and keep walking. And we have this thing. We have this thing where if I tell her I love her, she cannot say, "I love you too." She cannot say that. All she can do is just say thank you. Because if she said, "I love you too," she didn't think of that. That wasn't original.
right.
So sometimes I say, "Yvette," she'll say, "I love you." She'll beat me to it. So I say, "Thank you." We do that throughout the day. We do
Oh,
that. We've been married for 20, almost 29 years. We were married on John 3:16. March the 16th will be 29 years. And when I met her, we met to do some business collaboration. I prayed with her, and that was in 95. I have prayed with her every day since then. And so,
mm,
Suelo, when you're talking about when you're doing things around your children, our kids watch us every day pray. And then there's times when I ask them to pray. So now they're grown, they're leading prayer service. You know, my son is a ESPN analyst on TV, and they just love him. But the reason they love him is because of his he has the right morals, his character. His
yes.
character. He doesn't play around with. He's not messy. He wants to make sure he treat everybody with respect, and he
Yeah.
always exhibiting the fruit of the spirit. And,
Oh my
and
God.
so when we talk about the 3A: attitude, academics, and athletics, and that's how I'm going to continue to get better. I'm gonna keep my mind sharp. I'm reading all the time. I have 3 or 4 books that I'm working on. Most of them are in here, but I'm beginning. I have a book that I want to write. I was writing it before I had my stroke, and it's called uh, "Black Minds Matter Too." Black Minds Matter Too. You know, we had that Black Lives Matter, all that. Black Minds Matter Too, and and it's one of those things where I'm always working on projects. I'm ADHD. I can't sit still. I can't sit still. I gotta do something.
Well, I tell you what, I have enjoyed, I have learned so much, and I don't have my book here, but y'all see it back there on the wall. That healing word, speaking life
Yes,
into the generation. We have to speak life into our young people, and
yes,
they will in turn speak life into us because we don't know everything, and we definitely don't know the this technology that is the way of the world. It's not going to change. So uh, did you say how everybody can get in touch with, how they can buy your book, or how they can, are you
yes,
doing coaching, or are you doing anything that they could benefit from?
yes. I can give them my email. You and I had difficulty getting onto my website, and I
Yes.
found out that something happened to the host, so I'm getting another host
Okay.
They put my
Mm-hmm.
website, but no, we
Yes.
couldn't find it. There was a reason why.
Right.
However, my email is Leroy at Leroy McClure
Mhm.
Jr.com.
Yes.
Leroy at Leroy LeroyMcClure Junior Jr.com. And we're working on getting that website together because I have all my books on that website.
Okay.
And I have the shot doctor. I'm a basketball guy. I can shoot the ball. The shot doctor, nothing but net. I was
Yes.
so good, I wouldn't even count it if it doesn't hit nothing but net. Swalo, you know anything about
Wow.
basketball?
You said what, Leroy?
You know anything about basketball?
Oh, a little bit, little bit, little bit.
What about you, Judy?
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. Well, I have that book called The Shot Doctor, Nothing But Net. And then Why Sammy Still Can't Read and Life is Good, post stroke, I'm now better, not bitter. Because there was a moment of time where I was bitter just a little bit, just a teeny bit.
Yeah. Just a little
It
bit.
didn't last long though. And then I'm writing in the
Well,
book.
it's the
We're gonna
only
do
okay, so they can only purchase your book from
They can
you?
purchase it through Amazon.
Okay.
Amazon, uh,
Okay.
that's the best way to purchase it right now. Amazon, because if
Okay.
you were able to get on my website,
Yes.
they will be able to see where they can purchase it through Amazon. Yes, and then
Mhm.
there's a organization called uh, I want to say Reader's Digest, but that's not it.
Okay.
We'll just say
Well,
Amazon for now.
okay. We'll get okay. We got running out of time. So
Okay.
I'm gonna say I pray that today was better than yesterday, but
Amen.
not as good as tomorrow. I pray that tomorrow will bring forth a double helping, a blessing in the form of opportunity that you all never saw coming. All right, everyone. Good night. Good night. Good night. Thank you very much, Leroy. Thank you, Swalo.
good
And
night,
thank you,
everyone, and thank
everyone that watched. And if y'all, Leroy just told you how to get in touch with him. Don't let it, please. If you got children, please don't let the system just pass them through. We got some smart young women, young girls and boys, and
Yes.
we need to bring them from the background to the forefront. That's my word on that.
Yes. Yes.
All right. Good night, everyone.
I
Thank
want to
you
Hold
for
say this.
on.
reminding me.
I want to
Thank
say
you.
this. Look at
Oh, I'm
his
sorry.
smile. Look at Leroy's
I
smile, and
know.
look and listen to the work that he's doing. Now, if you
Yeah.
would want anyone to help better your children with a smile like that, I think it should be Leroy. You just keep smiling like that, and you keep helping those babies. Miss Judy, you know how I am when it comes to kids. So, yeah, thank you for all that you do.
Yes. Thank you guys. Thank you. And I look forward to
Okay.
us working together some more.
Oh, yes, we
Okay.
will. We will. All
I
right.
really
Let
look
me.
forward because there's a whole lot of work to do. There's a whole lot of work to do. And we're wise enough to recognize